Hi, Ella is my name and teaching is my game. If you're here, you're learning Portuguese, and that's a great thing because you're also about to learn how to express the time or how to tell the time in Portuguese. It's a very important and basic concept, and as you have noticed probably, this is a class for beginners. And why do you have to learn it? Well, you don't. But if you have Brazilian friends, if you're dealing with Brazilians on a daily basis, if you're in Brazil, you're very likely to experience some tardiness on the Brazilians' part because we we are late. We tend to run late for many things that we have, and I think you probably experienced that. If you haven't, you will. And you don't want to mistake a time for another time just because you didn't understand it clearly what your friends told you or what your friends said to you in Portuguese, just because you didn't understand the expressions of the numbers or stuff like that. So if you want to learn how to tell the time in Portuguese, you have to know the numbers. And in the description of this video, you'll find a link to an article, to a blog post uh, that teaches you all the numbers very clearly, like this, like magic. It's not like magic have to do your work, but you get the whole thing. And the first thing you have to know is that pão, we have two different words to translate time in Portuguese. For example, in English, you would say, what time is it? In this situation, in Portuguese, we use the word for hour, which is hora, hora. This H is mute, so hora. And when you want to say, the weather's okay. Here you will say tempo. And I don't have time, you will also say tempo. But when you're specifying what time it is, you have to use hora. Usually not hora, but horas. And the simple way to ask that is que horas são? Que horas são? And you see here that we have an S here, an S here. So you put them together and you pronounce them as if they were a single thing. Que horas são? Que horas são? Hmm? And whatever you see between brackets here is optional. In daily conversation, we drop it too. So you can say que horas, what hours? Que horas são? Você tem horas? Like, do you have the time? Você tem horas? Or have you got the time? And here we also drop você. Tem horas? Those are very common ways to ask that. And I would say that que horas são is way more common. And we even have uncle jokes about that. So, okay, you asked que horas são. So, how are Brazilians likely to answer? So, the first thing is it's very simple to tell the time in Portuguese. You just say, like in English, you'd say it's 3:10, right? Here for the first one, meaning 3 hours and 10 minutes, maybe 3 o'clock. I don't know. I'm not an English native. But in Portuguese, you would say são 3:10. We don't need to use horas and minutos here. It's really unnecessary. And if you use that, you would sound like an automatic clock or something that has voice because it's really not natural. You'd say são 3 horas e 10 minutos. Sounds like you're a speaker or something. Yeah, I don't know exactly, but it sounds like a robot. São 3:10. São 5:25. É 1:15. É 1:30. And for half an hour, 30 minutes, meia, from meia hora, half an hour. And it's important, notice here that the verb has to agree with the number that is closest to it. So, 3 e 5 are plural because it's more than one. And uma, it's like only one, so it's singular. É uma, são 5, são 3. Okay? Another thing that you have to know is in English, you'd say like 3 in the morning, actually 3 in the afternoon, 5 in the morning, something like that. In Portuguese, we also have that. We have the words da manhã, da tarde, da noite e da madrugada. Da manhã, in the morning, between 5 and 11:59. Da tarde, between noon and 5:59, more or less. Da noite, from 6 till midnight, after midnight actually. And madrugada is like from 1 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock in the morning, usually. But some people here in Brazil won't say that, like madrugada, they will say morning too. For example, 5 da manhã, 3 da tarde, 7 da noite, 2 da madrugada. And you can say 2 da madrugada, it sounds natural, but in my experience, 2 da manhã é much more common. It's much more common. I said it in Portuguese, I'm sorry. I said much more. It's much more common. So, and we don't have a quarter of an hour, meaning a quarter to three, like those textbooks teach us in Portuguese, in English, here in Brazil. We don't have a quarter of an hour. If you want to say 10 to 3, for example, you have to say 10 para as 3. It's 2:50. 10 para as 3. And it comes from the expression faltam 10 minutos para as 3. Faltam 10 minutos para as 3. And we tend to use faltam 10 para as 3. Faltam 10 para as 3. And para as in daily conversation is always pras. If someone says 10 para as 3, they want to make it very clear, but it's not really natural. And usually only numbers like 20 and lower are used in this formula. You could use like 25 to 3, for example, 25 para as 3, but it would sound like a stretch. It wouldn't sound so natural. So you could say 20 para as 5, like this, e 15 para as 3. And e 2 have feminine forms. So you have to make the word agree with the noun hour, because it's é uma hora, right? Hora is always implied, so it's feminine. É uma hora, são 2:30, são 2:15, é 1:40. And again, oh, Anakin, but like 1:45, it's singular, right? No, it's not singular. It's plural because remember, the verb has to agree with the nearest number. São 15 para as 2. So, now that we have that out of the way, bang, special usages. Quick thing. É meio-dia, é meia-noite. Like it's midnight and it's midday or noon. And a quick thing, if you want to say, for example, it's 12:30, like midnight and 30 minutes, or noon and 30 minutes, you would say é meio-dia e meia, é meia-noite e meia. You say meia instead of meio because if you say meio like this, meio-dia e meio, which is wrong, it's like the word meia has to agree with hour, which is hora, right? Feminine. So, é meio-dia e meia, not meio-dia e meio. Meio-dia e meio would be half a day and a half, which might make sense in some specific situations, but not in all of them. And that's it for now. If you want to see more, and really more, you can visit this webpage, like portuguesewithali.com/learn Portuguese vocabulary. And there you find lots and lots and lots of articles that I post every week, at least one. And they are very in-depth. So if you have questions, you can go there. And in my website, you also have a search function. Don't forget, subscribe to my YouTube channel for new updates. And also, you can follow me on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Portuguese with Ali, which is me. And you'll find new updates and very, very fun stuff there. So, muito obrigado e até a próxima.